Hello and welcome back to Rain or Shine Farm. Today I'm talking all about watering systems, soaker hoses, sprinklers, automation, anything of that kind, especially because now, at least for me, we are in the heat of summer, and talk about different options and what I think works best and what I'm using in my garden. So I hope you enjoy it today. I hope you're watering systems are going well at home. And if they're not, check out, some of these options and see what's going to work best for you. All right. See you there. All right. Good morning and welcome back to Rain or Shine Farm. We're having a nice, lovely, sunny day today. And I'm going to talk a lot about watering today. So we're actually going to start over here. Here's my lovely GreenStalk looking very nice. But yeah, so actually the water is on right now. You can maybe hear it. I have a Bluetooth timer I got from the GreenStalk website that I can link to. And then we have this four um splitter for this spigot here. So this one, like I said, has a Bluetooth timer and I've hooked it to soaker hoses, which you can kind of see right here. Are hoses that have um I guess like perforation all the way around them, and so they drip water slowly. um I like them because they're a bit easier to set up than drip irrigation. You just buy the hoses or buy the hose kit, and you can cut it and put um different tees and splitters on them very easily. So that's that one. And I'll continue talking about what that looks like. I have a hose off of here to water the front. So I have some pots and stuff that aren't on a timer. And then this is actually the one for the green stalk. So I just kind of turn this when I want to fill the green stalk. Um, so I have the watering system with it, which is basically just tubing that clips um, to the side here. So you can kind of see it goes all the way along and then just dumps out in here in the top. It goes very quickly. Like, I mean, it's as if you have a hose on it with no um, spray nozzle or anything. So I just kind of turn it on for like, I don't know, 30 seconds minimum or maximum. Fill this thing up. This is just to keep the bugs out and it from evaporating too much. Um, and then it trickles down, and then I have it so it drips out onto this for the pollinators so they can drink from that. So yeah, so this is my nice setup out here. So it's automated. So I have this one hose, so it kind of snakes here. Oh, just turned off. Um, yeah, so it snakes around the hydrangea here, goes around the iris and these kind of bigger plants. This is the normal hose one, so I'll pull that back. Snakes here around again, the bigger plants, the landscaping, and it goes all the way over to here where I have a T. So then I have three hoses that go along this area. So I have this one that kind of winds itself. Again, I wanted to make sure the tree got watered a good bit. I have irises around the bird bath. And so I wanted to make sure those were getting a good amount of water, the lavender. So I'll actually walk in here. Oh, some strawberries. Okay, so yeah, some of these plants are bigger and more established, so they need more water, but also can handle like less frequent watering in between because they're bigger and they have a larger root system. Mm, good strawberry. Ooh, there's another one. Okay, so back on task. All right, so it winds through here, goes around these trees, and then wraps around the back there and kind of wiggles, zigzags all the way down there. So again, here you can see I have the 3 lines, so they're all separate hoses because I want to make sure that they're basically, this part's getting watered evenly. So obviously I also have other plants. So these are, I used wildflower seed packets here. So when it's been raining, those guys get more watered. And obviously soaker hoses work a bit better for more established plants, trees. Again, just because, I mean, I guess you can do them for them, but they don't, you can kind of see here, but they don't drip very far. You can see where it's wet. So I basically put them right up against the plant. I can show you more over here. Like right here. So these are little fig trees I have. I'm gonna try to tuck this down. But yeah, I have them going up right up to the plant itself. Again, you can tell on the back here. It's also to itself. The rose is doing well. And then at the end, I put these end caps on them so they don't like spray water out the end. And this is where these kind of end down here. So yeah, that's my solution for this front bed. Obviously the containers and stuff, these potatoes need to get harvested. Don't get water from that. Like if these plants are able to pull anything from the soil, they might be able to get water there, but I've been overhead watering these guys maybe once a week. Containers dry out really quickly, but as you can tell, these potatoes are fine. These ones are done. So it's not that I haven't been watering them and they died. They're just ready to be harvested. Yeah, so that's kind of my solution for over here. Again, I have containers, so they have to get overhead watered, but they're actually faring just fine. Again, I water them. I take the hose with the sprinkler head over here and overhead water them maybe once a week right now. We're kind of just getting into like true summer where it's dry and hot for us for most of the summer. We get rain a good bit on and off throughout the entire spring. So I don't have to worry about overhead watering too much. And then I water my mint plants back here that are all in pots, again, from this hose, but this has been a really nice system here. I've never had it this automated. At our old house, we had soaker hoses, but we had to like connect the hose to each of them in the raised beds, which is fine. We would just set timers on our phone and then go and like turn it off, move it to the next one, turn it back on. But obviously this is very nice because like we're going on vacation this weekend. I don't have to worry about it. So basically the hose stays on all the time. I have the other spigot heads turned off, or the splitter heads turned off back there, and then that one stays on and it runs it. Right now I'm doing 3 times a week for 25 minutes on these hoses. Sorry about the wind. But yeah, that's that watering. So I'll show you my next not as automated watering. So we have a hose here, some future rainwater saving barrels. So here we have, again, another splitter. It's just a 2 splitter. We have a hose that's running out to a second hose because we basically couldn't get to the duck area, just barely, with our 100-foot hose. So basically we ran that hose to here with this hose connected for this thing. We have another hose to go out to the ducks because we go and water, like fill their water. I was gonna say to water them. That's what we call it, but we go out to their enclosure and fill their buckets of water every day right now. They have the pool area, so they have a good amount of water, but they still like to drink out of their water buckets. I'm not going to go over there because they're quiet right now, and we'll try to keep that going. But yeah, so basically when I want to water right now, the whole raised bed area, which are 8 beds plus the 2 containers of grapes. I take this hose, I take the spray nozzle off of it, I drag it over here in between my beds. Sorry, there we go, it's focusing. And I overhead water it with an oscillating sprinkler. I'll show you the sprinkler itself in a moment. But yeah, that's what I'm doing for now. Again, like overhead watering is basically the least efficient type of watering. So you're going to use the most water because it's just going to evaporate more quickly too. Also here it's pretty windy. So sometimes it like literally is blowing the water away from the garden, which is not ideal. But it's working for now, mostly because I can turn it on. I ran it for actually an hour on Friday because I'm like, these have maybe gotten watered once a week. Again, we get rain a good bit. Oh, the chickpeas are blooming. That's fun. They're just starting to get their little pink flowers on here. They have the most delicate little flowers, so that's very fun. So yeah, I think these guys are doing okay. I put this up for the peppers to try to give them a little extra heat and a little less wind, like a bit of a windbreak. So we'll see how they do. But yeah, that's kind of the watering situation for now. Like I said, I take this hose, drag it over here, for now. And right now we're not watering our grass at all. This grass is longer, so it's doing okay. It's wetter over here. In the back part, it's getting a little crunchier, especially because we've been mowing it more frequently. So if we want it to stay green, we will have to water it, but I don't know if we're going to do that. Living here in like Western Washington State, no one really has like irrigation sprinklers or anything. So we're kind of just used to the grass dying in the summer and then it comes back in the fall and is green like all winter. So it's pretty normal for us here. But like I grew up in a desert like place where we did have irrigation and everyone has irrigation canals that fed water to your home and you could just use sprinklers and turn them on, built-in sprinklers. So that's nice. Oh yeah, let me show you the sprinkler head. So this is the sprinkler I use on the garden, so it oscillates back and forth. You can decide if it only goes one way, the other way, both ways, using this. And in theory, it measures the amount of water here, so you could tell like how much water you're giving it. Generally, they say for plants you need about 1 inch of rain a week, or water a week, which again is easier to control when you're measuring the water. I do have a rain gauge near the front, and then I have a little one that's in our raised bed that measures like a couple inches. Our big rain gauge measures like up to 5 inches or something. So I use that one more to actually measure when we get a lot of rain, but this one's decent for when we do sprinkling. But I basically just like, I'll put my finger in the soil and like shove your finger down, and like if any soil sticks to your finger, like it's probably moist enough. If it feels dry all the way down, like 4 inches, probably could stand to be watered. And again, like bigger plants, like yes, while they need more water, they're also more established, and so they can handle going longer between waterings generally. And I like to kind of do less frequent but deep watering. But again, water, however best works for you, but you do still have to pay attention to like if it's been really rainy versus if it's been hot and dry, like that obviously will affect the plant's ability to take up water or not. So sometimes you just have to test it. I don't know, as someone that like cooks and bakes, at least cooking, I'm always like, yeah, you gotta taste it throughout and taste it before you serve it to people so that you can like balance it out, decide if it needs more or less of something. Um, that's a bit how watering is, I feel like. I'm like, you can have systems, they can be helpful, but if you're not actually checking to like, are my plants looking terrible and dried out? Like all these look pretty good. They're green. You don't see any like spots on the leaves. Um, they're like a fairly neon slash dark color of green. Um, like again, these potatoes are dying back because they're about to be harvested. So obviously they look a little more yellow. Some plants get more, basically if they get too much water or not enough water, they get stressed. So you can kind of tell back here on this tree. So this is an apple tree. So here there was some stress going on. Probably this, I would say that this is from like irregular watering. um like you can tell down here, this is a rose plant and it is actually a bit more, it's got some interesting things on the leaves actually. But the green is a bit different than here. Whereas here, like some of the leaves closer in on the branch are darker green and then they get lighter as they go out. Some plants are just like their leaf color is different, but again, spots I think of generally as like fungal usually, which might mean that they're sitting in too much water. Um, so it could be you're watering like too close to the bottom of the plant. This again, I'm thinking this is a bit more from like irregular watering. But I could, for example, I could take this and move it further away if I think that this is getting like too much water. If I go look at another of the apple trees that's the same variety, same time, these ones look different. Again, there's a little bit of stress, I would say. Like there's some discoloration on this leaf and some white, which is interesting. That might be more like mildewy, powdery mildew. But this one looks like it's less water stressed. And again, most of the leaves are a bit more uniform. But here you can tell like this is going to have worse airflow actually because it's next to a pot and the wall, whereas the other one is not next to a pot. So that could just be the whole difference between the two plants. Because again, I got them at the same time. They were both bare root plants and they're the same type of tree. This one I just potted up first, so it's a bit bigger. But yeah, so those are some of the ways you can get like books or look it up or take pictures of the leaves if you want to try to figure out what's going on. But generally, ducks are out. Generally, I would just say like, yeah, usually it means like too much or too little watering. And so try to adjust from there. The hard part is that obviously it's like there's a delay on it. It's like this discoloration is from, maybe the last month. And so even if you change things now, it might not bounce back for a little bit. And again, this doesn't really worry me because it still looks pretty, still putting out new leaves. It's like perky looking. So that's kind of what I'm talking about with water. We could talk about like fertilizing maybe in another video, because obviously that would be another thing to do depending on how your plants are looking or not. I don't do a ton of fertilizing. I actually mostly fertilize my like seedlings, my starts when I start stuff inside, and I'm like trying to keep them alive off of basically just water for, sometimes months, depending on how big the plants are. So So I do fertilize those. And then if I buy, so like when I bought this rose, I bought rose specific fertilizer to put in the ground when I planted it because some plants like more or less acidic, and roses are one of those. Blueberries are another one. So there are some that I will basically amend the soil when I put the plants in the ground. And then maybe like once a year after that. I used to have a lot of camellias at my old house, which also like blueberries, more acidic soil. And so I'm just laughing at the ducks. And so that can be helpful. And then I will like every time we empty the duck pool, I will use that water. The ravens are out. I will use that water and like lightly fertilize the plants in the raised beds. I say lightly because duck, yeah, droppings or manure or whatever that's going to be in the pond, along with like algae and other things, um, is like gentle or considered like cold compost, which means that you can use it directly on your plants and it shouldn't like burn them or give them too much at once. So that's great. So I will use those on it. But again, that's a pretty gentle fertilizer, and I don't really use any methods that aren't organic. I don't treat a lot of pests. Generally, to me, if there's like a pest issue on a plant or like discoloration or something, I'm looking more at, again, like watering. Is it not happy where it's like location, where it's living? Maybe it's not getting enough sun or it's sitting in too much water. And then usually, because pests are around all the time, the reason they usually come to your plant is because it's stressed in some way. Again, could be too much or too little water, could be it's fighting some weather or climate dislikes for itself. And so that's what I think of more often, and I would rather attract predator pests like parasitic wasps or like praying mantis or ladybugs, things that eat, like ladybugs eat aphids, that eat other pests, and kind of balance it out that way versus me doing a lot of like human intervention. Yeah. So that's kind of like my personal stance on it. Again, if it's like a tree that I really love and it's unique and I really want to make sure it stays alive, like I probably will do a bit more like amending or watching it, or like would consider doing some pest measurements or like, yeah, some pest killing measures. But right now I don't really have anything like that. So like all the mature plants here were from the prior owners, like this one or the hydrangea back there. Let's see, there we go. And then all the other stuff I brought from my old house and took cuttings of, or is just not that like precious to me. Like, yeah, I'm learning how to like nurse plants. Like this is a tree I think I bought probably 3 years ago that was just like a stick. That's where I got all the apple trees from. They're super cheap. And I've been like raising it over multiple years, giving it more soil, planting it with other plants. It was in a pot for a long time. Now it's in the ground so it can get more established, so stuff like that. But that's kind of all that I'm really thinking of. Again, as I work more on the garden, as we get the fencing done, as I start putting in other trees, they're perennial plants. They're going to stay in there for a long time. Again, I might treat them a bit differently than I treat some of my annual vegetables, for example. But yeah, I think that's kind of it for now. We are camping as this video comes out for you, or we're actually back by that time. There's a bird up there. And so I'm recording this a bit beforehand. My friend Anna was asking me some questions about watering and what we do and how much and for trees and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I should talk about watering in a video because obviously that's a very important part of gardening. Okay, well, the wind is kicking up, so I'm gonna go ahead and go inside. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Look at that. You can get out.